Hello, guys. Welcome to Daddy and the Don. Today we're going to be looking at the yearly excitement brigade, which is Arsenal Football Club. It's that time of the year where we all get excited. Normally lasts about another month, but this year it looks like it's here to stay. So I thought, why not get one of those fans on? Didn't take me far to find one. We've got him here. It's my partner. It's the Don. You all right, mate? How's it going?
Oh, hello, Phil. Good to be back. We haven't done a live for a while, so it's good to be back doing some lives. And regarding the excitement brigade, I think that surely should be the Man United fans. They are the ones that get excited too much. I'm cautious. I don't think we're going to win the league, but we'll get into that. But Man United fans are the ones that get excited. Let's just say that right now. They've won nothing. They've beaten shit teams, and they're acting like they're the greatest. But anyway, we move on. That's a subject for another time.
Well, if they beat Nottingham Forest in the final, mate, that's going to be like three champions.
Burnley, Charlton, Everton, Wolves, Forest, Bournemouth. Wow, you beat no one. Simple as.
Yeah. But we said it's time of the season to get excited, so let's let everyone have it. It's not just for Arsenal; it's Man United can get excited as well. Right. So obviously, what normally happens is Arsenal are nowhere near anything. They get a couple of wins and everyone gets excited, and then they go out of everything in February. But this year, it's looking a bit different. It's looking like something could happen. What are you thinking with Arsenal? How have you found the season? Because at the start of the season, you was 4th/5th. You'd have probably took a Europa League win and 5th place finish because it gets you in the Champions League, and no one would have said anything. But now it's like the goalposts have changed because of the start, isn't it? So where are we with that?
I would take 2nd or 3rd personally. Obviously, only 3rd if obviously Man United and Tottenham are still behind us. I can't have either one of them teams in front of us. So for me, 2nd would be a great year, and potentially the Europa League. That's where I'm aiming at. I think City will probably do us in the Cup. So potentially that might actually be a good thing. We can concentrate on the league. I'm not saying we can't win it. I just don't think we can at the moment. Let's see where we're at. But I think the Europa League is definitely something we can win. It's a trophy. We're going to be in the top 4. So let's go all out. You know, we don't have to play a game next. But I think we get to the last 16 automatically. We can get a favourable draw for that in the quarters and get to the semis. We can beat anyone. I'm not scared of anyone in that competition. Obviously, Barcelona are going to be the team that everyone's scared of. I think they knocked Man United out, and that might not be a good thing for us. But like I said, Europa League's definitely saying I think we can win. Right now, I'm happy with 2nd. 3rd's not bad as long as it's not behind either Spurs or United, which I don't see happening. But let's see if we can beat United and Tottenham and beat City in the month, and we're still clear by 7 or 8 points, or even maybe more. Then I might change the goalposts and say, well, we can win it. But right now, I'm being cautious. I just don't think we will. I just think we are a little bit short in certain areas. I think defensively, we are very strong. We have depth everywhere. But defensive midfield, Elneny and Lokonga for me are just not good enough backups. And if Eddie gets injured, I'm not Eddie's biggest fan, but if Eddie gets injured, who we got there? We've got really no one to cover him. And it looks like we're not going to buy anyone in that position. You know, Mudryk is not a striker, he's a winger. So right now, yeah, like I said, Europa League is something I'm definitely think we can win, especially with that bye. Forget the FA Cup. I'm not really bothered if we beat City. I don't think we will. I think that's not a bad thing, though. Like I said, let's see. If City keep playing like they did last night, then I might change again. But right now, as I'm now, I'll take 2nd. I'm happy with that. It's a great season. But we need to try and win something. And again, Europa League's the greatest opportunity.
Because that's where I'm coming from. Because obviously I'd back City all day long to win the league. Have got the best team. But when you take that best 11 away and you start playing with the reserve players, they're not looking as good as they did in previous years, in my opinion. I think that 2nd team, people can get at them.
I still think it's a good team, though. I still think it's still good. I'm not saying it's unbeatable team. It's still a team, if they can play well, they'll still win. But it's not like Man City's first team. But, you know, obviously Foden's in and out of the first team. He probably is a first team player. So if you look at their 2nd team, it's, Mahrez, Grealish. They're still top players. And you can say one about Calvin Phillips. He's lost at the moment. But if he can get a bit of form, he can do a job. But, again, he's lost. Doesn't look like it's a good move for him. But, yeah, I agree what you're saying. They're not unbeatable, that 2nd team. But no 2nd team should be unbeatable. So if City get a few injuries, if Haaland gets injured, Alvarez, is he good enough to lead the line? I think he's good enough to play on the wing. I don't know if he's an out-and-out striker. So, yeah, we keep talking about Arsenal and injuries. You know, City can get 3 or 4 and they're in trouble. If they lose to Bruyne, they've lost Diaz is injured at the moment. He's their best defender. So I think we are forgetting that City are just, they're not unbeatable, and they can have bad days. But I think it's just hard to back against them. What was it? Is it 5 points at the moment? 5 points is that if we lose to Tottenham and Man United, which is a real possibility, we're in trouble. We're level, and then all of a sudden, Man United are maybe 3 or 4 points behind us. Tottenham are only 8 points. I think Liverpool and Chelsea are too far back now. I'm not particularly worried about Newcastle. I don't think they'll keep this up. And then all of a sudden we could be fourth, which we took at the start of the year. But where you are now, it's like if you're 3-0 up in a game and you draw 3-3 against a great team, you'll be like, we took a point. But at the end of the day, you're in a position to do something. It's just this video. I just would love to see where we're at after the United game. If we've won both games and we're top, then I fancy us doing something. But I do think it's still in City's hands. City to
I think
it.
you need 8 points and not to lose both games against them. If you had an 8-point head start and you don't get beat twice by them, I think that's about a fair handicap for the season.
Yeah,
you could hold that off, but obviously, if you lose twice to them, I think it'd be like in the Tour de France when the peloton catches up with you, you just run out of gas. But if you win one of those games, all of a sudden, those games that City go away to Wolves and they rest players and they scrape 1-0 wins, they're not restable games anymore. There's pressure on those games then. But obviously, it's down to you to put the pressure on them.
The thing is, if we beat Newcastle, I think we'd be very, very, very happy. 8 points, 2 big games coming. But we Newcastle was a big game. We didn't win it. We didn't play ridiculously bad, but we just they sat back. Now United and Tottenham ain't going to do that. I think realistically, we can get a draw from Tottenham. I fancy us beating United at home. I'm not particularly worried. They are a good side. I'm not going to say they're not, but they're still very much gettable at their place. We should have beaten them at their place. We were the better team. That goal was disallowed, which has now been confirmed as a mistake by VAR. I don't know if you've seen that article. So if that goal went in by Martinelli, we probably would have won that game 3-0. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to be like a deluded, biased Arsenal fan. I'm just being honest. I think we would have won that. So if we can beat Tottenham or draw Tottenham, I very much think we will beat United. It's just I want to be confident, but what we do is because we look at Arsenal as this sort of underdog team, and we look at City as a team that's dominated. Everyone expects us to slip up, and everyone goes, "Well, City won't slip up." But City don't look that good. But there's this expectation that City are just going to get better. Now, we just don't know. That might not happen. City could completely crumble. But right now, I would very much struggle to put my money against City. It's one of those things. I want to be confident, but I'm nervous. I'm just nervous for the next couple of weeks. I'm nervous for the City game on the 15th of February. By that point, we might not even be top. We could be third. We just don't know. We could, as much as I hate to say, United might actually be a good side and might actually come up. Let's hope that doesn't fucking happen. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm just a bit. I'm just not sure. I'm giving you opinions at the same time. I'm going, we could. It's a case of. Let's see where we're at in a month's time.
But how many games are left now? What is it, like 20, 21 games, something like that? 20 games?
Yeah, I think 21, 20 games. I think we've had 17 or 18 games, something like that.
Yeah, so what's the chances City go unbeaten until the end of the season? Doubtful? Very doubtful, yeah?
Not how they're playing at the moment.
So if they lost maximum, say, 3 games or 2 losses, 5 draws, something like that. That's a lot of points they've dropped, and that's a lot of points you could also drop. So
yeah, exactly.
You still got to look at it. Anyway, let's see what the people are saying. So, here we go.
Who's watching? I'm not knowing.
We've got some Monday action. So we are fanging around with the Mudryk deal. Yet we could be getting Felix on loan and buying Zaha, Tillemans for roughly the same money, please. What I'm going to say with the Felix thing, I was going to get onto that later, but I think you've personally dodged a bullet with that one because they'll say, right, he played for Benfica, right? Yeah, had one great season. I've got this written down somewhere. So 26 games, 15 goals, 7 assists in what I call a very slow-paced league. Yeah, so not many good teams, quite slow football. A lot of 1-0 games in there. Both teams to score no comes in all the time. So he's scored goals in that league, slow-paced. He's gone to a Spanish league. Again, I think it's quite a slower paced league compared to like if you come into the Premier League. I think if he comes to the Premier League, he's going to be the same as all the Chelsea boys that are there at the moment that have come from other leagues, found it's a change of pace, they get tackled more, they don't like it, and they don't get their numbers. That's what I think I see of Felix.
Can I just say example very briefly? Like, really irritates me, and I'm not mugging any fans off here, but if people go about these players in other leagues, like, oh, these are really good players, no one knows nothing about these players. They don't see them enough. They see reports or they see articles about these players from people who might watch it. Remember, these leagues are not as good as the Premier League. Let's just face it. The Premier League's by far the best league, by far. And it's a big margin. And people, any Liga bum boys out there, whatever, you can say what you want. But the fact is, Premier League's better. Koulibaly looks good occasionally. Everyone's saying, oh, he's a great player. No one's actually ever seen him play. He's a good player in a slow league. He can't take. He's 31 years old, and now he's playing in the best league in the world, where it's quicker pace, and he's getting his pants pulled down. Felix, for me, is one of the most overrated players I've seen. There's nothing for me that makes him worth what he's worth. This hype about a player who is probably a good player. He is a good player. I'm not saying he isn't, but for me, he's not done anything to value that loan fee. So we have dodged the bullet. Thank God we haven't bought him. I'm not saying he's not good, but for me, a player that's not going to be our future, yes, it could fill the gaps, but he's not an out-and-out striker. He's a false nine. It's what we don't actually need. So I'm with you there, Phil. I think we've dodged it. And I get these people that say about these players that we actually don't watch. I don't watch Felix, but I've seen him occasionally, and I'm not over excited about him. Mudryk's another one. I don't know nothing about Mudryk. I watched him against Scotland for a cameo, and he was brilliant. He was fantastic against Scotland. So you've just got to be cautious. Premier League's where you've got to do it. Some players come over and smash it, some don't. But we'll see. Like I said, I think we dodged the bullet. I think he's right there, Calder. I think Tielemans is proven in this league. Tielemans is by far a buy that we could be getting. It's backup or even starter with Xhaka and Partey. So I was bang on the money there, Carl. Definitely get Tielemans. Saha, yeah, he's a great player, but I think Saha is better.
I think you've got too many in those positions as well.
I think we need a winger. He plays on the left, and we've got two left players there already. He doesn't play on the right. And the thing with Saha is that I think he would be better playing for. And this is not offending Palaceville.
Same as Jack Grealish. He was better at Villa than he was at City. But going back to Felix then. So for all this money that was spent on him, so 27 games, 6 goals, 31 games, 7 goals, 24 games, 8 goals, and 14 games, 4 goals. He's amazing. Jesus this season. 14 games, 5 goals, 5 assists. He's had a poor season, apparently. He's got 10 goal contributions in 14 games. I'd say maybe if he had 2 more goal contributions, that's exactly where you want your player to be, isn't it? So
I watched Jesus live twice this year. He was the best player on the pitch by a fucking country mile. He is that good. He really is. I've never been so impressed with a player, honestly. PSV at home, he was just top draw.
And when he was at Man City, in a team that creates him more chances, he played 28 games last season, 8 goals, 8 assists.
Yeah.
So the rate he's going at you, I know he's getting more minutes probably at you, but he would outscore what he did at City in a team that will put him 5 goals a game past people. So
exactly,
it's not like he's had a great season, but he ain't had a shit one.
No, but he's had man of matches. If you watch him, his finishing got a bit ropey before his injury, which is completely agreeable. And I understand the criticism and why people would say that. I get that. But I don't care how many goals Eddie scores. Once Jesus is back, he has to start because we are a better side with Jesus playing.
Anyway, I think we need to stop a minute. I'll just get everyone's comments up and then we'll carry on. So I don't know where the common sense is in the Mudryk deal. I'll tell you, right, fantastic player from what I've seen. He's got skill, he's got pace. Whether he can do it in this league, I think this league's more made for him than if he went to another league.
Yeah, but again, Scotland.
For 85 million, are you going to spend 85 million on someone? Basically, he's done, what was it this season? He's done something like 12 games, 7 goals, 7 assists. But last season, he did nothing. He literally just started last season. Got into the Ukraine team, had a couple of good games against Scotland, like we said. And then he's done 12 games, 7 goals, 7 assists in the Ukraine League, which his team dominates. So it's not really anything more than Jesus done. He doesn't play as a centre forward, as a main number 9. So again, Jesus is injured. He's not the answer. So you're going to then turn around and say to Saka or Martinelli, "Oh, you're not playing now." you and Emil Smith Rowe can sit on the bench and we're going to spend 85 million on Mudryk. It's just not fair enough.
It's not what we need. It's not what we need, a competition, but we need somebody who understands they're not going to start the game. This boy is a wonder kid. Again, I don't know not much about him. I've seen the highlights. Again, I saw him live, was he on TV against Scotland, and it was on the right side. So it's Scotland. He is a talent, but I don't think the money. The problem with these European teams, and again, a quick example. I know we've got time to go through, but a quick example that I can't pronounce his name, but that number 8 from Morocco plays for Angers in France. Okay, and they want 50 million for him or something. Okay, but these other clubs in Europe, they won't pay money for players who are probably better from the Premier League, but they want to sell their players who are not proven for more money. So this young lad, Mudryk, he's not worth 8 million. He's probably worth about 30. But unfortunately, these clubs want money because they all need the finance. And unfortunately, these bigger clubs that have more money in the Premier League have to pay it because that's just how it is. So definitely not for that money, but if we're going to do it, we should just get on and do it now. Obviously, we want him. So why are we mucking around? Either pay the money or don't pay the money. But I don't know if it's a deal that we need right now.
Mark Hill, £1 bid for Zaha will do it, Phil.
We'll bid Mitro for that.
Yeah, plus Mitro. We want £1 plus Mitro. Who cares? Arsenal suck. Big up, lads.
Coming from a Man United fan.
Oh, good
Probably
God.
not bad.
Let's hope it does. Read these comments, Phil. Arsenal will crack, they always do. Well, surely you've got to have that Man United run coming up soon where you get like 7 championship teams in a row, surely.
Monday, we're finishing second. I've already said it, mate.
Monday in the house. Both Arsenal
second.
and United have dodged a big bullet. Yeah, agreed with that one. But I think
about time I agree with something he says.
As he's brought it up, this Weghorst deal, it just smells of Igalo all over again.
The thing is, he's not a bad player. If you actually look at his record, he can score goals. Now, if you give him the opportunity, he will get you a couple of goals. It's just a short-term deal. He's not going to start unless he needs to start. So I don't see the big issue. They're not going to spend money. Ten Hag wants him. So let him have that 6 months. They're going to get someone in the summer. It just makes sense. Yes, I completely agree. It does smell like a guy, though. But unless Martial and Rashford are both injured, he's not going to start many games. But if you actually go on Wikipedia or go on the sites, he does score goals. And yes, I know it's different.
What was that site again? Grahampedia?
Wikipedia. He does actually score goals. So the guy can score goals.
But,
yes, the league.
Does ex-Ajax striker Kasper Dolberg. Is he going to sign for Man United?
Again, he'll be another quick fix for 6 months. These are quick fixes. That's what it is. Again, fucking hell, that's 2 times I've actually agreed with him. Fucking hell.
Same as Liverpool.
Spot on.
Same as Liverpool. I think signing Gakpo probably puts pressure on the Jude Bellingham deal because they've spent big money now, and are they going to spend more big money when they're trying to sell the club?
Yeah.
With Liverpool, that one is. So same thing that Munsey says there. So as long as he gets the winner at the Emirates.
Then I'll be saying he's shit. Now, I think it's not a bad deal for United. I don't think it's amazing, but I think the fans got to just realise the time of the year. It is obviously just a quick fix. He's obviously got plans to get someone in the summer. You just got to be patient. That's it.
Yeah. So again, like I've just seen clips of him, right? You know, when they show like just all his best bits on YouTube. This is going back to Mudryk and that. He has got pace. He has got amazing skill. But then it's like Celtic players. They can do it against the limited competition they're in. I know he gave Real Madrid the run around, didn't he, on one of the games? But again, how many Celtic gave Real Madrid a good first half, didn't they, at Hampden Park, start of the season? So, and then that all ended in tears, didn't it? So, we're up to date on those ones. So, going in, so like transfers, obviously we talked about the one they all missed that we're not really that worried about. We talked about Mudryk, speculation. Anyone we need to get in, because obviously Jesus is injured. Do you need to replace him, or do you think just give Eddie a go? Because obviously, I know it's in the FA Cup against Oxford and he's had a couple of other goals, but he has finished when he's been given an opportunity. So I don't think his numbers were far off what Jesus would have done. Do you just stick with him because you paid him the money for the contract in the summer and just say stick with him? Or is he a player that when you need him for a run of 10 games will let you down, but when he's on the bench, he's always knocking on the door? You get that with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he was at Man United. He was always great as a sub, but then when the player got injured, he could never lead the line.
Yeah, I completely agree. Eddie can score goals, but there's not much more about him. He's just a finisher. I think we need to get someone in just on a 6-month loan to just compete with him. Jesus is going to be out for another couple of months, so we need that guy that will come in, someone who doesn't have a future, but someone who can just, potentially come in if Eddie's struggling. Eddie's going to start. It's a bit obvious now. We've paid him 100,000. It completely makes sense. I'm not Eddie's biggest fan. I don't think he's a future going forward. Like I said, he can score 15 goals in 10 games. Jesus starts me every day of the week because he's a better player. Now, obviously, I'll get to players that I think we can bring in, but obviously, we're looking at now. We got Flo Balogun knocking the goals in France, and this is his first real proper run as a first team player. So again, we can say what league it's in, but he's scoring goals. He would have been a great option to come and compete, but he's obviously going to stay there. For me, Memphis Depay from Barcelona is an obvious choice for me. Someone who's out of contract in the summer. I think someone that Barcelona would take a few million for him to take him off his hands. We can sign him to a 6-month contract, and he can compete and potentially do the job when required. He can play across the line. He can play as number 9. So he for me is an obvious pick because there's just not many players you can bring over now. And this is what, again, going back to the Weghorst deal, you're not going to get many players unless you sign 60, 70 million. Teams don't want to do that during the season. So you're going to have to look at players that are maybe cheaper on loan. And for me, he's a good option. He'll want to start, but he will probably know that Eddie will get the go unless he's injured or he struggles to start scoring. So yeah, either that. Basically, he's probably the one player. There's not really anyone else I'm looking at that would come to mind. The Moroccan striker now, Nazizi. I think that's how I said his name. Apologies if I said it wrong. He's another one that could probably come in, but I don't think Seville want to sell him at this point. And Weghorst would probably be. I would have had Weghorst at Arsenal was backing up Eddie, to be fair as well. So I'm realistic with it. You can't just bring in all these Oshiminis and all these other guys that wanted in the league. Ramos from Benfica and all that. You've got to be realistic. So yeah, I think Depay is an obvious one.
I know he probably it wouldn't happen because of the club and they need him. But would you have taken Giroud back if he was available for 6 months?
No.
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 Too old?
No, not for me. Not for me.
Because I think that's what you missed last season was just a finisher.
Yeah, great. Eddie's the finisher. He just doesn't have anything else about him. Eddie is literally someone. If you put it in front of him, he's 1-on-1 with the goalie. He probably can finish, but he's not particularly. I don't think he's particularly quick. He's not particularly strong. He doesn't have good hold up play. He can't pass the ball, and that's why I think he's very limited.
We only bought Weghorst to fix the roof at Old Trafford.
Fucking hell. But yeah,
because that's where all the shots are going to end up.
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, it's realistically, I think Eddie needs competition. I'd be shocked if we don't bring at least someone in to just try and compete with him. Martinelli's someone saying to play at top. I don't think he wants to play him at top. It's obvious that he wants to play him on the left. I think Martinelli would be better on the left because of his pace. I actually would keep him where he is. So if you're looking, we've got no competition for Eddie, so we have to bring someone in. The other option is Mika Birov, who's on loan. You could recall him and give him that backup run. But I do think it'd be very. He wouldn't really trust him playing him properly. So yeah, we need someone because Jesus is not going to be back for another couple of months. So we need someone for sure.
Just going back and answering all the stuff you've gone through quickly, I think the Balogun thing, I think you need to go the Saliba option with him and let him have his couple of years on loan. And when Saliba came back, he was ready-made. You put him straight in, he's played. If you took him back last year or half a season before, he wouldn't have been ready and then he would have probably never played again. So I think Balogun, if he plays now or the end of this season, potentially he just gets thrown in the deep end and you lose him. Let him go on loan even for another year where you've still got players here that can play. And then he comes back, he's a ready-made player. Obviously, going with your Martinelli bit, I think arguably he's near enough your best player at times. If I was looking at who I wanted to take from your team to Crystal Palace, I'd probably want to take him if it was someone that's going to make a difference. So obviously, Odegaard's in a good bit of form at the moment, but the thing with Martin Odegaard, he's a player that he's not got a great lot of pace. He's a bit like Bergkamp. He's all with his vision, all with his skill. It's the way he reads the game. And I think Real Madrid have probably missed a trick letting him go that young into his career. But he'll create stuff where Martinelli is just that raw pace. Like if you you've got Joel Ward sitting there and he's running at you, you're shitting your pants all day long. Martin Odegaard, you can try and contain him and keep him quiet, but he'll, a bit like Christian Eriksen, he'll pick a pass out from somewhere, but it's dependent on the other player. And obviously that other player is Martinelli, Saka. But I'd say out of all of them, Martinelli's your one that you would try and play up front if you had to replace him. But because I don't see Saka can't play as a centre forward, Smith Rowe can't play as a centre forward, Odegaard can't go up any higher than he is. He needs to be a bit more of a deep line player because of the vision. And I just think he wouldn't do as well up front, and then it'd affect his natural game, which is cutting in from the left.
He's a winger coming in from the left. He's and that's why people don't say, like, oh, play him up front. No, he plays good on the left. Keep him on the left.
The same when we play Zaha up front. It doesn't work because we haven't got the Zaha on the left creating all the chances for the centre forward.
Fans who don't know football and go, play him up. He's good because he's doing something that you can only do on the left or the right. Saka comes in from the right and gets it on his left and hits it.
Yeah, you can't cut him from the middle.
You can't cut him from the middle. The strikers are strikers for a reason. Wingers are wingers. Martinelli is a winger. He is not a striker. I'd rather him stay on the left side, and I would probably be against the grain for that reason. And a lot of the fans who run on that striker are well-favored fans from other countries who know nothing about football. Who will just go, "He's good, play him up top." No, because then you're not maximising these strengths. So you need to play a player's strengths on the right position. Smith Rowe can play on the centre. He can play number 10 or left wing because he likes to get it on his right and shoot with his right foot from the side foot. So that's why he likes playing on the left, because he can drift inside. So we need someone for Eddie. Martinelli's not the answer. We need someone desperately. Bring someone up, give him a few games, or gets a free agent or someone on loan. But we definitely need someone. Maybe the buy might not be the right answer, but get someone who can at least come in and be third choice when Jesus comes back.
Yeah, and like going back to Smith Rowe, because obviously go back like a year and a half, he was like literally going to be your best player. And I know you like him out your squad, but you've got to admit now, as much as you rate him, as much as you say how good a player he is, he can't get in that team now. He's going to have to sit and wait for someone to
get injured.
Yeah,
he got injured. It happens, and
it's at the wrong time as well. It's at the time that all your players started performing as well. So he can't. If you were sixth in the table and struggling, he'd bang straight back in the team.
Exactly. The thing is, he's probably the first player off the bench. He's by far our best player of the backup. So I'm confident he'll get a chance and he'll show how good he is. He is really good, by the way. I've seen him live. He's a top player. So I'm confident he'll get a go. But right now, you have no reason to change the front four. Eddie's scoring as much as I don't rate him. Saka and Martinelli are probably two top talents in the world. We know how good all the guys doing. But Smith Rowe is good enough to come in, and if there's an injury to Smith Rowe or Saka, to Martinelli or Saka, there's no harm bringing Smith Rowe in. He'll start and he'll do just as good a job. So it's good to have that player ready to come on, so it gives us a bit of depth. Apart from that, Marquinhos, who seems to be a bit raw, and then another player who is Reece Nelson, who seems to be on his way out. I don't think he can get a run of games. Are them too good enough to play week in, week out? No. So we do need some depth there. But I think striker is the area where we really need that depth.
So I've got some, I don't know if you know him, Jackson Taylor, Mudryk to be an Arsenal player after a few hours. Welcome Mudryk to Arsenal. Obviously, it's speculation. It'd be news to me if it's in a few hours, because that's obviously a considerable amount of money that has to change hands. But obviously, if he's right, fair play.
I think he plays on the wing. Is it? I think he's a left winger.
He is a left winger, yeah.
So why do we need a left winger? Is he not all right? Does he not play on the right?
No, so every time I've seen him, it's left wing.
So, but we got Martinelli and Smith. Well, unless Smith Rowe will back up Odegaard in the centre area.
Yeah, but again, for £85 million, I don't think it's your need. Like if you had £85 million to spend on anything, it would be a centre forward right now, wouldn't it? So,
yeah, exactly. Or Tielemans. We need backup in that centre mid. 100%.
Yeah. So obviously we did discuss title chances earlier. So if we were going to say it now as a percentage, what do you think the chances are of Arsenal lifting the title this year?
30%.
30%. And 70% is just City? So it's just a two-horse race? No one else?
65 City.
Who's the 5?
Don't make me say that name. It's not Newcastle. It's Man United, probably that 5%. Just that slight 5%.
But we're going to find out soon, aren't we? We're going to find out soon.
Even though they beat no one, I have to give them that slight credit that they're in form. They're only 9 points behind us, so I have to acknowledge them. I I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll change it. 67% City, 30% us, 5% United, 3% Newcastle. I'll give a bit of credit to Newcastle. They're not going to win the league, though. And I don't think Man United will win the league. But as of now, I can't ignore them. As much as they're not doing anything against good teams, they're on form. They've got to be acknowledged. So I'll give them that little 5%. I think Arsenal, I think 30% for us is fair.
What we're saying for, just briefly, just fire away, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool this season, where are they going to finish?
I think Liverpool finished 4th. I think Newcastle finished. I think Tottenham finished 5th. I think Chelsea finished between 10th and 7th.
You're obviously not too disappointed with Chelsea's form, are you? When Graham was right.
Pot is shit. I think. Well, Chelsea fans, Mackle obviously, my best friend, your friend, someone who comes to the channel. He's not really sold by Potter. I said when he was signed, it was the wrong move. He's not the right man for the job. But just forget Potter for a minute. He isn't that good, and he's been proven. But the plan and how Chelsea are doing things is just completely all over the place. There's nothing going right. It's just chaos. Everything they're doing has no strategy. They're bringing players. They've got too many players. Now, Chelsea have too many players in positions. They have too big of a squad. So they've got all these players that are unhappy. And when there's injuries, you bring unhappy players in who can't get their form because they've not been playing. Now, you look at City and Arsenal. They have smaller squads. And that's why they're doing well, because they're giving the same players the opportunity. Chelsea are changing the formations every game. You've got Ziyech and Pulisic who don't play that much, who've been playing, who've not been playing well. Mason Mount can't do it because he's not playing against Norwich. Havertz is not as good as what probably Chelsea thought he would be, though he's okay. He's not consistent enough. The midfield changes every week. Gallagher's not the same player because he's like a bit like Starr and Grealish. He's better in a team outside the top 7 or 8. Koulibaly is as good as my old Vauxhall Corsa. Silva's their best player and he's 38, 37. And yeah, it's just they're missing Reece James and missing Ben Chilwell. I tell you what, I've never seen the team rely so much on their wing backs. They do. They need them to. They make the difference. Cucurella is shit as I said he would be. Big up you, Hanif, for that one, mate. Telling me that Cucurella is better than Chilwell. I think you're wrong there, mate. By the way. Yeah.
Been sitting on that a while, haven't you, Graham? That sounded like you've been waiting 6 months to say that. Bloody hell.
Well, I always end up being right. Told you that. Chelsea are not the same team without Ben Chilwell. It's a simple fucking fact.
But also, when you said about this whole squad that they've got, have you noticed there's not even like a tier system to it? You know, where like
it's got like 50 players.
There's a clear first team in City, and then you have the ones that come in that are slightly downgraded. These ones, it just seems their front sort of 8 players are all the same. They haven't got a first team.
It's chaos. They have good players, Chelsea. Sterling's a good player for Chelsea. Potter doesn't know his best team. He keeps switching it around. Players getting injured. It's just gone completely fucking wrong for that team. They need to sort it out this summer. They brought some players in recently. That French defender looks like a decent defender. Fofana's been injured, which is bad luck. He's actually a good player. They brought these 2 youngsters, another Fofana, the striker, and Santos, I think his name is. Unproven. They've both only played for about a year. But they look like signings for the future. But it just seems a weird time to buy them. I don't get because normally Chelsea would buy them and send them alone. They bought them and now they're going to play. Even though they've got injuries, Chelsea even with their loads of injuries, they still probably got the bigger squad available right now, and that says all the volumes you need to say. It just doesn't seem like there's a plan right now, and I think Potter came at the wrong time. I think he's going to get his job taken from him. And as much as I don't like and rate Potter, he needs time. He needs time. He needs to be given his opportunity to make his squad. I think he's gone in there and they're telling him what he's got to do. It just won't be long. It won't be long. And when that happens, Graham was right again. I don't want to be right. I want everyone.
How's that managed to happen though? Because when he went in there, they were a bit of a shambles. He went 10 games unbeaten, I believe, at the start. They were looking organised and like no unrest in the camp. And just before the World Cup started, it all just went sour again. They lost a few games in a row. Then they've just been dog shit since they've come back. So is this almost like, let's just try and impress the new boss? And now it's just sort of like when you get a substitute teacher in, he's not a big enough name. They don't rate him, and they're just sort of thinking, well, I'm not going to listen to him anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do.
I don't. You'd say that because I don't know if that's the case, but the main problem with Chelsea is that they keep sticking with these players that have not been good enough for the last couple of years. Now, if I was Chelsea in the summer, I'd look to get a complete brand new midfield. Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek, probably the only two I'd keep. Jorginho needs to go. Gallagher needs to go somewhere else. He's not good enough. Kante, injury prone. Sell him. Get rid of him. He's not good enough anymore. Even though he's a great player, he's just injured all the time.
Yeah, the amount of money you can make just by
you can make money and get rid of these players. Yeah. Mason Mount just doesn't seem to do it consistently. I think Mason Mount's a good player. All jokes aside, I think he is a good player. But is he a good enough player to be the main attacking midfielder for Chelsea? No, he isn't. Sorry, he just isn't. It's just Pulisic and Ziyech are good players. They're not going to be good if you don't play him week in, week out. And that's the problem. Switching, and this isn't just Potter. This Tuchel did the same thing. He switched his team too much. You've got to stick with the same team. Stick with the same team. Give them the same amount of game time. If you keep, it's just, I don't know. It's a mess there at the moment. And to be fair, I have no issue with Chelsea. I'm just being honest with it. They look like they're going to struggle. I'd be surprised if they were in the top 6, but you never know. Maybe they're shockers. Right now, I think the top 6 will probably be City, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Newcastle. But you never know. Chelsea could pop in there, but they need to sort the mess out. They need to get a plan in place. They need to sort these players out because they've got like 35 players in the squad. They've got another 35 on loan. It's just, they need to understand what players for the future, get a plan in place. You either back him or sack him, get a manager in and go from there. But this Ted Boehly, I think he's learning. And I think he's just, at the moment, he's learning hard how it is to be an owner or executive in the Premier League. And he's got to get it sorted because at the moment, Chelsea are a really poor side, to be fair.
I think he's just a bit upset there's no waivers in the Premier League, is there? So he's got a bit confused on that one. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, getting back to your title chances, because I'm a bit upset now because every time when you've got no chance, all the Arsenal fans are overexcited, and I get to laugh when it all goes wrong. Now, I'm expecting them all to give it the very large, and they're all being cautious, and so I'm thinking there's a serious title charge on here because they're all being calm and they're all playing it down and they're all saying, "Oh yeah, no, we're not the favourites." So I'm going to go and stick money on Arsenal winning the league today because someone in this forum's got to get excited about Arsenal, and if it has to be me, then it has to be me because I'm just having a feeling in my waters that City are just going to have a bit of a shit season like they did the year Leicester won it, and you're the only team there. Newcastle, everyone's moaning. Oh, for me, I thought you might struggle against Newcastle, not because I think you can't beat them, but because I thought they'll just sit there and play for the draw, which they pretty much did. And if you take all those chances on another day, you score at least 2 goals. You average 3 goals a game, I think, this season, is it? You're averaging about 3 goals a game, roughly. So if teams are going to sit there and try and park the bus against you, you're going to get a goal. It's just and how many clean sheets have they made? I think it's 7 in the last 10. So it's not like you've done anything no one else hasn't done. You just haven't scored against Newcastle, who hardly anyone has scored against, I might add. So I think against all the other teams, you've got more. Like last night, if you were 2-0 down to Southampton at half-time, I think you could have turned that around because of the way you played. Where the personnel City had on the pitch there, I couldn't see anything. They changed too many players at once. Like Grealish can be good, Mahrez can be good. When they're in the first 11, Alvarez, when you just make 2 changes for the game, when you make 8 changes, they can't all play together and expect to be that same team. Where with you guys, what you've done in the Europa League, you've maybe just made 4 changes. Just made 1 up front, 1 in midfield, 1 in defence. Maybe the goalie comes in. You're just making 1 in every position. So it's still the same sort of base of players. And that, for me, that normally bodes well for the end of the season. That's why you're not really going to be too handicapped over the Jesus injury because, like you said, Eddie's just there to tap the goals in. As long as the rest of the team are creating the chances they created all season, he's going to get the chances. And that Newcastle one, he didn't mess that up. That was a good strike. That was a good save at the end there. Nick Pope made a good save to stop that being 1-0.
Yeah, I love your enthusiasm, and there's a lot of fans right now who are saying that they're calm, but they are in their head. We're going to win the league. They just don't want to come across. I am excited that we could do something, but I just, at the moment, I'm just cautious. I still think we'll finish second, but for me, these guys don't even know who Mudryk is. They've probably never seen him. Anyway, I'm exciting.
Jamie Phillips in the house. Big up, guys. Hope you're okay. Yeah, big up, Jamie. Anyone who doesn't know Jamie, he must be living under a rock if you don't know who he is. Going all guns blazing with his Liverpool channel at the moment, doing some really good things. No, he had his son's birthday the other day, and he's a big family man and that. So big up, Jamie. Head over to Jamie Phillips Football Chats if you haven't seen him. Really good content on Liverpool FC.
Jamie, have you recovered from the beating Brentford gave you? I was watching his he was fucking fuming. I've never seen him so mad. I thought he was going to chin the camera.
There's a couple of times I think he's going to throw his...
He's a top man. He's an absolute top man. He's got a fantastic channel. So please go over there. He talks some sense, that guy. He knows what he's on about.
I think a couple of times this season that microphone's been close to getting smashed up like one of John McEnroe's tennis rackets.
Yeah, but I'm just going back onto what I said about Arsenal. I think, look, and I'll take first. I think we all would. Right now, I'm 1 second. It's not far-fetched thinking City might crumble because they are showing signs of cracking. But there's still a long way to go. If we can get 6 points out of Tottenham and Man United and City drop a point and we beat City, I'll come on here fully naked and say we'll win the league. But right now, let's just see where we are in 10 games' time. If we've still got an 8-point, 10-point lead, yeah, 100%. But I'm just being cautious. And I genuinely mean that. There's fans who tend to be cautious who probably think we're going to win the league. I am generally just cautious.
Are you going to bring the peanut butter for that announcement?
Depends if we've got any. I don't know.
Right, let's do this now, right? Because we can give it as much Larry Large as we want. Let's do an Arsenal Man City 11. Let's just make it up now. We haven't pre-scripted this. Let's just do it now. Not 100% on form, not 100% on reputation. Just a mixture of, if we were making a team to go and play today, who would we take?
Oh, you cock. So what formation? Can I pick it or?
Should we go? Should we just go 4-3-3 because it's what most play with like a dime?
Yeah, 4-3-3.
Two centre and one attacking.
Yeah.
So in goal, so you got Edison or Ramsdale.
The most great goalie in the world. Ramsdale.
What I find with these two, for saving the ball, it would be Ramsdale. Obviously, depending on how you want to play, I think like Edison is more there to get the attack started more than anything.
Ramsdale's weakness is getting the balls from the crosses. His footwork and his staying in top gear.
Because I find with Edison, I think I mentioned it somewhere else before, he's got one of the worst save percentages in the league. I think he's like 19th for save percentage because I think he had like 20 shots at him, let 10 of them in. And then like you got people like Jordan Pickford getting chastised elsewhere who'd had like 60 shots against him and only let in the same amount of goals. So, okay, so you got Ramsdale in. So, he's 4 at the back. Who are your 2 centre backs going to be?
Saliba and Diaz.
Saliba and Diaz. Okay. I think with City, that's the only real one you can actually take because the rest of them rotate so much. You can't really.
John Stones isn't bad. Laporte hasn't been the same. He's still a good player. They're both good players. But I think 1-1's fair there.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And Saliba, again, I know some people would say Gabriel's better, but for this season, Saliba's been the revelation.
I think they're both really good centre-backs, but I think Saliba's been better.
Yeah. Left back?
It's a tricky one, this one, isn't it?
Well, first of all, where are we going to play Cancelo? Are we going to play him as a right?
That's what I mean. Are we going to play him left or right back? For me, let's just take Arsenal for a sec. Tierney's better than Shevchenko. But he's obviously not playing Tierney because he likes the way Shevchenko plays. I'm not going to put Shevchenko because I think Tierney's better. So I'm going to put Cancelo left back.
Okay, and right back?
And White.
Yeah, he has had a good season. I think he's not right back, but he's obviously been playing right back all season.
He's playing really well. Is Kyle Walker a better right back than him? Yes, but who's been better this year? For me, it's got to be Ben White. So Ben White right back, Cancelo left back.
Been injured quite a lot, isn't he, Walker? So we'll go in the middle then. So we'll go for the two holding. Or
can we do one holding? One holding, attack.
One holding, one box to box, one behind the striker.
I'm going to do 3 in the middle. The one in the middle is going to be holding, and the 2 on either side are going to be in and out. Okay. So the one holding.
Rob Holding.
No, the one holding. Oh, I love Partey, but I'll be honest, I absolutely love Thomas Partey, but I still think Rodri's better. So I'm going to go Rodri. Even though I love Thomas Partey, and I think he's probably the second best defensive mid in the league, the best defensive mid in the league, mid in the league is Rodri. So Rodri there.
I think it's really underrated, his actual ball distribution as well. Makes it look easy.
Yeah, he's a top player. So I have to go Rodri. I know a lot of people would say Casemiro because Man United fans, but
can I read your mind? Are you going Odegaard and KDB in the middle?
Oh, potentially yes, you are. And you know what? Before I say that's so harsh on Bernardo Silva because he is a top player. He really is a magician, fantastic player. But I think Odegaard has been fantastic this year. I think he was good last year. Can go missing occasionally, but he hasn't gone missing this year. So he's been consistent. And for me, these are the two best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. I think that's evident. I don't think anyone can say any different to that. I think by far the best two attacking midfielders. So we know how good Odegaard's been, and we know how good Kevin De Bruyne is. That guy is a top player. He's good. He's one of the best attacking midfielders in Premier League history. His vision, they're the same as well, though. They're like Dennis Bergkamp. Both of them might not be the quickest, but the passing, the shooting, the awareness, it's all there. And them two together would be a scary thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna go for the one up front as Haaland, yeah, obviously. No question.
No, Eddie Nketiah.
Well, you never know. Maybe next month we'll see in a month. Eddie Nketiah on the bench. Yeah. So we've got him up front. So we just need the left wing's going to be Martinelli, isn't it? That's left wing Martinelli.
Left wing Martinelli. He's a top player. Really is. Like he's better than for me. Like he's different gear, mate. What he does, the energy he brings, the way he plays. He's non-stop. He's non-stop, mate. He's like a vibrator. He's non-stop.
Right. Right wing Saka.
This is a hard one because I really rate Foden, but Foden's not playing every game.
Yeah, and you've got to look. Saka's had a good season as well.
Like I said, if it went for Odegaard's form this year, I would have gone Foden with De Bruyne and had Saka and Martinelli on the wings. But I'm not discarding Foden, and I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm always going to be a little bit biased for Arsenal. But Foden's a cracking play, probably one of the best players in the league, but he's not playing every week. Saka and Martinelli are, so you've got to go Saka Martinelli. Saka he's getting better and better year in, year out. He's not far away from being a 15-goal player. He's still very young. He's frightening when he's on it. I watched the Newcastle game. He had Dan Burn on toast, and then they had to put 3 players on him. And that's one thing you didn't realise. Dan Burn got done like he wasn't even trying, and he made it look that easy. So, Saka, Martinelli, and Haaland up top. I think that's a pretty good team I picked there, to be fair.
But I make that 6 Arsenal, 5 City. So there we go. Look, if we're done playing the Arsenal title challenge, we've got 6 of the team in 11.
Carl Walker could easily be in there.
Let's just say we've got John. So we've got John Stones, Bernardo Silva, Foden, and Eddie Nketiah on the bench. The rest of that's the first team.
Right now, if he did it last year, then obviously it would probably be 9-2. So
yeah, probably.
So I'm not saying that. And like I said, Foden and Silva, I just can't fit them all in. I can't play a 2-7-2. You know what I mean? Or I have to play if we played 3 at the back, then obviously. But it wouldn't make any sense. So, I think...
But anyway, obviously, we're going to wrap it up in a minute. But just cut this clip now because we're going to do... We've done when Graham was right. We're going to come back in 2 months' time and we're going to see when Daddy was right. When Daddy was the only one saying Arsenal are going to win the league and City are going to fold like a house of cards. And while you're all wanking off over the open top parade up in North London, I'm going to be the one saying you heard it here first. So I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. But... Cautious.
Right.
In the chat, by the way.
Obviously, we're going to wrap this up. Obviously, thanks for watching, guys. Obviously, we don't need to know where to find us. We're both on here. So, anything you want to shout out, Graham, before we bugger off?
No, we've got some shorts coming for the weekend football. We do have a short probably coming on the channel tonight for Fulham versus Chelsea. And then for the rest of the fixtures this week, you'll see some predictions from the panel, myself and Phil. So please watch them, give them a like, and if you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. I think we're currently on 700 odd subscribers. We're going along nicely, but as much support as possible, we really nicely. Thing with us is we put our own content out, we put our stuff out, and that's what we're going to always do. So we might not do as many lives as other channels. They all do good stuff, no doubt about it. But when we do, we'll try and do as much quality as possible. So I appreciate all the love, all the comments, likes, subscriptions. And let's hope, Phil, you are right. I really, really hope you're right. But I will say one more thing. Obviously, we want City to lose as much as possible, but I really wouldn't mind City smashing United on Saturday. It would be great.
And also, just remember, anyone who's left watching, I think there's 11 still watching, go and put 50 quid on Arsenal to win the league, because I need that price to come down so I can lump it all on City. Come on. You all bet on Arsenal. All bet on Arsenal.
Are we 5-2? Or what are we? 4-1? 5-1?
I haven't been. No, I think it's.
We were 5-2. We were 5-2 when we were 7 points clear.
Yeah, I saw something. Yeah, something like that, and I was thinking it doesn't look as good value now as it was back before Christmas.
We were 40-1 start of the year. We were 13-2 when we were top after that 6 games.
Yeah, when it was 13-2, I was having a look at it, but then it was like you said, it was a bit too early to start like contemplating it. But now, you know, when you think to yourself, I wish I'd had a bit of that now.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks as always, Graham, and we'll sort something out soon, right?
We'll see you next week, guys. I'll do it live, I promise.
Thanks for watching. Toodaloo.